So hello, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also support my small business at latricelimited.com. So for all of y'all Airbnb people, all them house parties, they are done, okay? No more partying, all right? So I got an article about this whole thing, which I find it actually be, it's pretty interesting, all right, about what they're doing and little takes on it as well. All right, so it says Airbnb announces a permanent ban on parties. The company temporarily restricted large gathering on its property in 2020. Now it's putting that into full effect. All right, so in 2020 they were like, yeah, large gatherings, we ain't doing that no more, y'all. Okay, but now 2022, all right, they're like, yeah, we ain't doing that at all. Like, we no more. All right. So it says Airbnb said that it was permanently banning parties at its properties worldwide nearly 2 years after the home sharing service issued the temporary restriction. The temporary ban has proved effective, the company said in a statement on Tuesday, adding that we are officially codifying the ban as our policy. The permanent ban went into effect that day. The move comes after Airbnb in 2019 prohibited open invite gatherings advertised on social media as well as chronic party houses that had become neighborhood nuances. However, the 16-person occupancy limit that Airbnb adopted in the summer of 2020 when it announced its temporary ban on all parties and events is being lifted under the new policy. All right. So there are a couple questions about this. I do want to actually share a story that I did see. I was on Reddit and whatnot. And I do want to share a story that someone did mention on here because it's pretty interesting. Someone said, no way to enforce this. I live in a neighborhood in South Florida that is full of vacation rentals and they partay. Okay. I've had college kids urinating off the roof, partying poolside until 5 or 6 a.m., 15 plus cars parked in a yard for a daytime party, and 3-bedroom homes and many other examples. I like parties, but these are getting out of control, and it seems that when you report it, when a report is made to code enforcement or like, the owner simply gets a written warning. So people are like done. So the whole thing that really bothers people about Airbnbs as well is just the fact that I'm paying to stay in this apartment slash house, condo, townhome, whatever I'm staying in. I'm paying to stay here, and you have their neighbor, all right? The neighbor then says, well, I'm going to rent it out to these randos who does not live here. They don't, who do they care? Because what do they care? Because they're only going to be here for a day, 2, 3, 4 days. And they're extremely loud, and people in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. All right. So could it be a security issue? Yes. But a lot of it is just a lot of noise and just disrespectfulness in general. All right. So like I said, you have people who they'll be blasting music, for crying out loud. They don't care. I've seen many horror stories about Airbnb, and this is partly why I'm like, okay, Airbnb, they ain't for me. All right. One, the prices are extremely expensive. It depends on what area you're trying to go to and what neighborhood. But yes, and how many people are going to be in there, whatnot, and how long. But generally speaking, I've seen a lot of Airbnbs where I'm like, y'all, I could have just went to the hotel and paid really the same amount. Some of them a little bit less. Some people say, oh, but you don't get the refrigerator, you don't get this, you don't get that. And it's like, well, depending on what hotel you go to, yeah, you would. All right. I even have a hotel that, yes, I'm going to be having a full-size kitchen pretty much. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I've seen other prices where I'm like, I'm better off doing this than doing that. So you have that. But getting back to Airbnb and, their banning is because people are really disrespectful with their properties. We've seen, this wasn't an Airbnb, but for example, the one where the teens broke into that $8 million Florida home. All right. I don't know if the guy was, because in the article I had seen, and I did a video on it, I didn't see I didn't see the owner, and I didn't know the owner's name or anything like that, but they had like these rings that looked like football rings possibly, but I'm not sure if that was football or basketball. But just looking at that video, at how disrespectful these kids were. They were breaking stuff, just taking things off. People don't care. And I've seen a lot of different horror stories in regards to Airbnbs where people are like, yo, these people are damaging the house. Now, granted, Airbnb does have their own, flaws, with charging the cleaning fees and stuff like that, which they could get crazy. And also, when you think about it, another thing that people don't like about Airbnbs is the fact that they do charge a cleaning fee. All right. When you go to a regular hotel, they don't charge a cleaning fee. Everything is what it is. This is the price, and that's it. They're not charging you an extra $50, $60, $100, when they could just put it all jam packed into the one thing, So that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people that are very disrespectful. If it's not theirs, they don't care. And even if it is theirs, heck, they still don't care. Now, I do want to know, yes, how is this going to be enforced? Because a lot of people are wondering that as well. It's like, okay, how are you going to make it so that people don't invite other people to the premises? I mean, you're not going to really be putting cameras in a house. You know what I mean? You're really not supposed to be doing that anyways. So how is this going to be enforced? How crazy does it get? I mean, we seen the thing that I just read up in Florida. People peeing on stuff and all types of stuff. You know what I mean? I seen a couple videos for Airbnb, people on the balcony, swinging off things, throwing up, and it's people they have a true disregard for your property. If it's not theirs, even if it is sometimes, they just don't care. And this is the problem that we're having. Airbnb, they're tired of it. They're like, okay, y'all want to play games? We ain't doing that anymore, with this ban, but I don't use Airbnb, but I could see how this is definitely something that is useful, how this is something that, it's a good step in the right direction. But if you're not going to enforce it, then what is really the problem? I mean, like, not what's the problem, but what's the point if you're not going to enforce it? So, I don't know. But those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions on it. And until then.